Hello and welcome. You are watching Gravitas Plus. I am Molly Gambhir. Let me ask you this. How much time do you spend looking at screens? And if you are a parent, how much time does your baby spend with screens? Screen time has become such an important part of our lives today that it's in a way hard to imagine our lives without it. But have you thought about the impact that screen time really has on us? Specifically, the impact it has on babies. As a parent, perhaps you are thinking at times there is no option but to resort to screen time. To some extent, screen use has become a part of parenting today. According to a study, screen time for babies and toddlers under the age of 2 has been linked with long-term negative effects on health and quality of life and should be avoided. Basically, the study warns that using screens during that period may lead to wide-ranging developmental concerns. The analysis reportedly identified substantial evidence that digital media use, particularly TV, mobile phones and tablets, is widespread in children under 2 and may be associated with potential harm to child development. While screens are increasingly making their presence felt all around us, how mindful are we about the impact they have? Even for adults, too much screen time can increase stress and anxiety. Social media, for example, may increase negative emotions. A constant stream of information, browsing through social media feeds can also lead to decision fatigue, reduced attention span, affect concentration levels, so on and so forth. You must be already aware of the measures being undertaken around the world in different parts when it comes to teenagers' digital habits. Measures by governments in different countries to basically restrict social media or mobile phone use among children. France and other countries have also been taking tougher stances because of the worries and concerns over perceived negative effects on children. That's not all. For example, the Czech government earlier submitted a bill to ban the use of mobile phones in schools starting from September 2027, joining a growing global push to limit screen time for children in the classroom. Last month itself, Australia said it would double the maximum penalty it can impose on tech firms that fail to uphold that groundbreaking social media ban for children, as evidence reportedly mounts that the ban has had little effect on teen use. The government reportedly will also strengthen the information gathering powers of its internet regulator, the E-Safety Commissioner, allowing it to basically compel social media companies to provide evidence of what they have done to stop under 16s from getting an account. In March, Britain told parents to curb young children's screen time, advising no screens for under 2s and up to an hour a day for 2 to 5-year-olds because prolonged solo use can disrupt sleep and displace play and exercise. Britain's advice on the use of tablets, televisions, laptops and smartphones, published earlier, reportedly marks the government's most explicit intervention yet on early years' digital habits, after it said parents had been left to battle devices alone. For example, a quarter of parents in Britain of 3 to 5-year-olds have said they had struggled to control screen time, while 98% of 2-year-olds use screens daily, according to government figures. So talking about that study we mentioned at the outset, let's just tell you more about the new global research. The research was commissioned by the 1001 Critical Days Foundation and conducted by the iAddict Research Group from 4 UK universities, highlighting how early experiences are shifting from human interaction to digital engagement. The research is led by the Interdisciplinary Action on Digital Device Immersive Conditions team, a group of experienced academics from Leeds Trinity University, the University of Leeds, the University of Nottingham, and Aston University. The 1001 Critical Days Foundation commissioned research reviewing the effect of screen time on babies within the 1001 critical days. The researchers reviewed thousands of studies, finding a growing body of evidence linking higher screen use in babies to poorer developmental outcomes. What were the key takeaways? Let's take you through them. Screen use begins early and is widespread. According to the findings, screen exposure commonly begins in the first year of life, with use reported by many children before 12 months of age and sometimes as early as 6 months. By 24 months, screen exposure is reported to be widespread across studies, with some children exceeding 2 hours per day. Higher screen exposure is linked to poorer sleep and health behaviors. Greater screen availability, particularly devices in bedrooms, and higher parental screen use are associated with shorter sleep duration and later bedtimes in young children. Early screen exposure is linked to risks for early development. Greater screen exposure in the second year of life is associated with delayed communication and problem-solving skills in early childhood. Reduced interaction between babies and adults is central to the risks observed. Developmental risks associated with screen use appear partly related to screens displacing caregiver talk, joint attention, peer play, and hands-on exploration. So basically, babies under the age of 2 are now using screens at levels that far exceed current health guidance. This is a pressing public health issue because the foundations of future health outcomes are laid down in the time from pregnancy to age 2 reportedly. According to the founder of 1001 Critical Days Foundation, for example, quoting, "The clear evidence in this world-first review into the impact of screen use on babies is shocking to read, from developmental delay and a worrying association between high levels of screen use and behaviors sometimes observed in autistic children to evidence of damage to the developing optic nerve. When combined with the lack of advice and support for hard-pressed parents who may not be aware of the extent of the possible harm being done to their baby, the case for action has never been stronger. All governments need to do much more to help parents increase their own knowledge and give their baby the best start in life." The study basically calls for further urgent investigation of the risks smartphones, tablets, and other digital devices pose to infants. Serious concern remains over how screen time could lead to fewer opportunities to bond with their caregivers, for example, or play with other children, limited language development perhaps, and increased overstimulation. With gadgets, technology, and screens increasingly making their presence felt around us, one needs to be increasingly mindful about their use and the impact they are having. Screen use among the under 2s is a concern that needs to be addressed the world over.